Have you ever looked at your husband and quietly wondered, why does he always do this? Why doesn't he understand me? Why can't he see how much I am hurting? Maybe it starts with something very small. He comes home and barely speaks to you. He spends more time looking at his phone than talking to you. You ask him a simple question, but his answer sounds cold. Suddenly, your mood changes. You feel ignored, unimportant, or unloved. But what if that moment is showing you something deeper? What if the person standing in front of you is not only your husband, but also a mirror revealing something within you that still needs healing? This does not mean that every hurtful action should be accepted, or that you are responsible for someone else's behavior. It means that close relationships have a strange way of bringing our deepest emotions to the surface. The things that trigger us can sometimes reveal old fears, insecurities, or wounds we never knew were still there. Paramahansa Yogananda taught that relationships can become powerful opportunities for spiritual growth. So perhaps the question is not, why is my husband like this? Perhaps the deeper question is, what is this relationship teaching me about myself? Think about a simple moment in everyday married life. Your husband comes home after a long day at work. You ask him, "How was your day?" He simply says, "Fine," picks up his phone, and sits quietly. To him, it may feel like an ordinary moment. But inside you, something changes. You begin thinking, he doesn't care about me anymore. He doesn't want to talk to me. Maybe I'm not important to him. Within a few minutes, a small moment can become a painful argument. But pause and look deeper. Is the pain really coming only from his silence, or did his silence awaken something that was already living inside you? Maybe you have carried the feeling of being ignored for years. Maybe somewhere in your past, you learned to believe that your voice does not matter. Your husband's behavior may have simply touched that old wound. This is why close relationships can become powerful mirrors. They reveal emotions that strangers may never reach. If his criticism makes you feel worthless, ask why. If his distance makes you feel abandoned, ask what that feeling reminds you of. The mirror is not there to blame you. It is there to help you see yourself clearly. And once you see what needs healing, you finally have the power to begin healing it. Have you ever wondered why, among billions of people in this world, you ended up sharing your life with this particular person? Why this husband? Why this relationship? From a spiritual perspective inspired by the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda, relationships may not always be random. Certain souls may enter our lives because they help awaken qualities within us that are waiting to grow. Think about patience. You may believe you are a very patient person until marriage reveals otherwise. Your husband leaves his clothes on the floor, forgets something you reminded him about 3 times, or takes forever to get ready when you are already waiting by the door. Suddenly, you discover a side of yourself you never knew existed. You become irritated, impatient, and frustrated. But perhaps the relationship is giving you an opportunity to practice something deeper. Maybe it is teaching you patience. Maybe another situation teaches you courage. When your husband disagrees with you, you may learn how to express yourself without anger. When he makes a mistake, you may learn forgiveness without becoming weak. When life becomes difficult, you may discover strength you never knew you had. Marriage can therefore become a spiritual classroom where 2 imperfect people continuously reveal, challenge, and awaken one another. The lesson is not always about changing your partner. Sometimes, it is about discovering who you are becoming through the relationship. Now ask yourself a deeper question: when your husband does something that triggers you, what are you actually feeling underneath the anger? Imagine he does not reply to your messages for several hours. You check your phone again and again, and your mind immediately starts creating stories. Maybe he doesn't care about me. Maybe he is avoiding me. Maybe I am not important to him. But notice something. The actual event was simple: he did not reply. Everything else was created by the fear inside you. This is where spiritual awareness begins. Instead of immediately reacting, pause and ask, what am I really feeling right now? Maybe it is not anger. Maybe it is insecurity. Maybe it is the fear of being abandoned. Another day, your husband makes an important decision without asking you. You become furious and say, "You never respect my opinion." But beneath that anger may be a deeper need: I want to feel valued. I want my voice to matter. I want to feel like an equal partner. When you understand the feeling beneath the reaction, your communication changes. Instead of attacking, you can calmly express what you truly need. This does not mean ignoring unhealthy behavior or accepting disrespect. It means becoming conscious of your own emotions before responding. Because sometimes, the behavior that triggers you is not creating the entire wound. It is simply touching a wound that was already there.
Every marriage can teach us three powerful lessons: power, surrender, and love. The first is power. But true spiritual power does not mean controlling your husband, or always proving that you are right. Imagine you and your husband disagree about money, parenting, or an important family decision. Your first instinct may be to win the argument. But real inner power is being able to stand firmly in your truth without needing to hurt the other person. The second lesson is surrender. Surrender does not mean becoming weak or accepting disrespect. It means knowing when to stop fighting battles that only feed the ego. Maybe you have had the same argument 20 times, and both of you are exhausted. Sometimes peace begins when you realize, I do not need to have the last word. Then comes the deepest lesson: love. Real love is not saying, I will love you only when you behave exactly the way I want. That is attachment. Mature love means, I can disagree with you without hating you. I can forgive you without pretending nothing happened. I can care for you without controlling you. This is where marriage becomes a spiritual practice. Power teaches you self-respect. Surrender teaches you peace. And love teaches you compassion. Together, these lessons can transform a relationship from a constant battle into a journey of conscious growth. One of the most powerful changes you can make in your marriage is learning to pause before you react. Imagine your husband says something that hurts you. Your body becomes tense, your heart starts beating faster, and within seconds, you are ready to answer back. But what if, instead of reacting immediately, you simply stopped for a moment? Take one slow breath, then another, and quietly ask yourself, what is happening inside me right now? Maybe you are angry, but beneath the anger there is hurt. Maybe you feel frustrated, but underneath that frustration there is fear. This small pause creates space between what happens and how you respond. Try it in everyday situations. When your husband comes home late, instead of immediately saying, "You never care about this family," ask what happened first. When he criticized something you did, take a breath before defending yourself. When he becomes silent, resist the urge to create a painful story in your mind. Ask for clarity instead. This does not mean staying silent about genuine problems or accepting disrespect. It means choosing awareness before reaction. The moment you observe your emotions, they no longer control you in the same way. You begin responding instead of reacting. And slowly, the same situations that once created arguments can become opportunities for patience, understanding, and inner peace. There may come a moment when you look back at your marriage and realize that something inside you has changed. The same situation that once destroyed your peace no longer has the same power over you. Maybe your husband becomes quiet, but instead of immediately assuming he is angry with you, you remain calm and give him space. Maybe he disagrees with you, but you no longer feel that you have to prove yourself. Maybe he makes a mistake, and instead of reacting with hatred, You address the problem with understanding and self-respect. The situation may not have completely changed, but you have changed. And sometimes, that is where the real transformation begins. You may realize that your marriage taught you patience when you wanted to control everything. It taught you courage when you were afraid to speak. It taught you boundaries when you were giving too much of yourself. It taught you forgiveness without asking you to forget what happened. This is when what once felt like karma can begin to feel like grace. You understand that spiritual growth does not mean staying in every situation at any cost. It means becoming conscious, choosing wisdom, and protecting your peace. Sometimes two people grow closer through awareness. Sometimes they grow in different directions. Either way, the lesson is to become more loving, more aware, and more free. So the next time your husband says something that triggers you, pause for a moment before you react. Take a breath and ask yourself, what is this moment trying to teach me? Maybe it is teaching you patience. Maybe courage. Maybe forgiveness. Maybe the strength to communicate your truth without anger. Marriage is not always easy. Two people bring different experiences, fears, habits, dreams, and expectations into the same relationship. There will be beautiful moments, difficult conversations, misunderstandings, silence, laughter, and moments when you simply do not understand each other. But every moment can become an opportunity to become more conscious. Your husband does not have to be perfect for you to grow, and you do not have to be perfect for him to grow. Perhaps the deeper lesson is that love was never meant to be about controlling another person. It is about becoming wiser, calmer, and more compassionate within yourself. If this message touched your heart, tell me in the comments. What has your marriage or relationship taught you about yourself? I would truly love to read your experience. And tell me, what spiritual topic would you like to hear in our next video? Would you like us to explore soulmates across lifetimes, karmic relationships, or how to release emotional attachments? Share your choice in the comments. Until our next journey, stay calm, stay aware, and keep your heart open to divine wisdom. Jai Guru Dev.